Welcome to class. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing us how to create drop down, something like this, using Figma software. Okay, so join me as I do this. I'm going to be restarting the same process again. Um, yeah, I'm going to create a quick frame. So I pressed the escape key to stop the drawing. Okay, so just go ahead and adjust the drawing to look as better as you want it. So yeah, okay with it this way. I'm gonna just group everything together. You can also make yours look better and just do some little touches to make it look as sweet as you want it to be. So I'm gonna just continue with this one. Okay, so I'm gonna create a duplicate of this. Control C, Control V, or Control D, whichever one you prefer. The target is to flip this the other way. Okay, so I'm gonna just rotate it. So we're going to be needing this to show when the form has opened up. I'm going to copy this and use it to create other parts of this. So I'm going to just use it this way. Create another copy, paste. Then I'm going to turn off the um, colors and just remove colors, and then that's for stroke, and put the fill color there. I want to use a different fill color for both of them. So the first one will be a bit light, while the second one would be dark. Okay, so you can decide to make it far lighter than what I have here. You can just click on this two to select the exact color you want. I need something a bit more light, so I think I prefer that FEFE. Right, close to white but not completely white. Then the next one I'm going to prefer to use EFF. Let's use EFEFEF. Okay, so it's close but not completely. Okay, so just go ahead and play around the color, get the exact color fill you need. I think I prefer this FAFA. Okay, so this gives us the view when it's this way. I'm going to create a copy of this, then name it red, and create another copy and name it green. Okay, so you can create as many as possible as you want. Now this is just the sample we need to do our main work. So I'm going to also put this aside outside here. Okay, we'll be using this for a whole lot of other things. So now it's your own decision to also maybe decide to use white color instead of just using a plain black, a plain color without anything that way. I'm gonna just set it to FFF as a color that way. So I'm gonna just take a copy of this, and paste, and then drop it here. Now this is one we're going to be using. So just create a component. Now when you come to asset, you see you have already created this here. So now, once you've created a component, what you need next is to create variants to have the different looks of your component. So once you click on the variant section, it will create this automatically. You want to be able to set this up to look just as you want it. Okay. So I'm going to just take away every other thing here on this very project. For now, okay, let me just group them together and have them hidden away. so it doesn't disturb us with. Select this frame and just lock the frames. Once we're not working with, okay, so not working with this one, so they are completely out of our view. Then let me just turn them off, so you wouldn't see them at all on the screen there. Okay, so let's talk of what we have on the screen here. So our target is to have this set up such that it would show us the other different looks here. So you can expand this as much as you want, so you have it wide enough. You position them well. So for the first one, which is your main component, you want to set up two things. Okay, a state for it. By default, you just have it coming up with this naming structure: property one, property two, and having a default structure. So, but want to name them, you can name it anything. It's not compulsory that it must be state. Say, for example, behavior. You can name it, okay, just what you want to be using to identify it. This is just more like variable naming. So if I name it state, I just want to, okay, specify state because I want to have different states, or or, or say behavior. At this point is closed. Okay, so we want to name. So once we see something like this, we'll know automatically it's closed. Now the next thing is, are we hovering on it? When you hover on it, what will it be showing? Let's assume in this state, when you hover on it, it doesn't show anything. So just add a comma, have this. So you have these two variables specified for this. The next one is second variant. Now you want this to have something extra. Okay, so you want to copy this very thing we have here now to replace this. So once you just do that copying, come back to this and paste it here. All right, you can reposition it to fit in well. Okay, so automatically this replaces what we have below. Okay, this is what we have now. So we want to name this very one something different. Okay, let's just undo first so you see what I'm doing clearly. So remember we've named this one already. So what the next one it was is what we want to name, which is this one. So to name that, just copy what you want to put to replace it. I'm gonna come in here and then paste that. Position it to fit in well. Now this is what is happening here. What I just copied is sitting right here in the blank space, but you want it to fit in within this. Okay, within this second variant. Okay, so you can just take everything down, clear everything in this one. That's one that has been created automatically. You just take everything you have here, then move it into this. So it's inside here now. So whenever I am talking about this, I'm talking about this now. So you can see that once I select this, I select that. So we want to name this one the behavior to be open. Okay, I want to say that this is when it's open. And then we want to have the hover to still be none because we have no action when you hover now. None. Okay, so when I hover on this on normal, I shouldn't expect to have anything happen. So other things are things I can also decide to set up now. Things like, okay, I want this to be repeated. So when I hover, it should be showing particular things. So make sure that first one is selected. This one now, this second one you created is selected. And then go ahead and readjust. I'm going to just shift this a bit. Now for if you're doing this on for a web view, you would have enough space to do all this. But for mobile view, kindly make sure that the one you're working with is centered this way. If not, it would automatically create a new component for you. So, and we don't want that. We just want to have the same states all within this different states all within this one component. So selecting this one, you can go ahead and set up whatever you want to set up for it. And go ahead. I'm going to just select this and create another one again by clicking this plus again to create another one, and then we'll rearrange. Now, see what I'm talking about. If I move this over to this section, you see automatically create another component for me, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to just adjust this first, not this. Adjust the component first and expand it a bit more. Then come into it this way, and then select this, and then rearrange, That way it maintains just state. So we want to go ahead and change some few things here. Once it's selected, it should be maybe the color of the selected thing here. So I'm going to just change this to red that way. Then, or maybe you want a specific cover color. Okay, just to make it easier, I'm going to just use DDD. Okay, so once it's selected, or maybe it's on CCC. So once it's selected, you see this. So the next one we want to select, once green is selected, it should also have same thing, CCC, that way. So that is that. So you can go ahead and name the other features here. For example, for this one, the hover feature here now is red. It's actually active on red. And then the next one, the second one here, the hover one, just minimize it so you don't have it's confusing. This one, the one that is active when you are hovering, is green. Okay, so that's just that. Let's take this out so it doesn't get you more confused. These are the samples you used. So let's take this out a bit. Shift it to the corner and then let's clear this guys. So this is what we're working with. Okay, so once we're done setting up this, all we need to do is now to go ahead and start using. So we don't need this to actually start using it. We just need to put this at the side. This is what we have already created that we're going to be using here. It's a component and you already know how components work. You just go ahead and use. So this is the first one we created initially when I started project. This is the one I just created now. So just click on this and drag to the screen. So once you have done this, you'll be able to see all those states you created, the behavior. Once it's closed, once it's open, you see the new view. Once it's closed, you see this view. So that's just that for a start. Other features, your hover for red and green and all that. So okay, so this is just to help us arrange different states or different behaviors set first. So you wouldn't have them created as separate components. So once you've created this, the next thing you want to do is to go ahead and create a duplicate of this because you want to go ahead and put this up in frames. So you can go ahead and create a frame first and then put it inside the frame or whichever way you prefer. So for me, I'm going to create this and put this inside here. Make sure the frame is fitted to the wall of this. So the next thing you want to do here now is to go ahead and set the different states you want. So I'm going to just create a duplicate of this. This is when you want it to be open. So firstly, while selecting this, select that open view. Okay, nothing is highlighted in this case yet. Then arrange your frame well. We want it to be fitted to the exact size of what you have here. So the next thing is create a duplicate of this and then make another duplicate and just rearrange them how you want them. I'm going to just rearrange mine this way. Okay, so in this second case, we want the red to be active. So while selecting this, just select the red. So it's selected. While selecting this, to just select the green for the hover. So you've you've finished setting up this. Next thing now is to prototype this. So and don't forget you're prototyping from here. So when you go to the prototype, you want once this is clicked, it should take an action to lead you to this part. So by default, in some versions of Figma, you should be seeing on click, but for this current version, you should be seeing on tap. This is the current version of Figma as I'm recording this now. So you want this to not navigate, but to open an overlay. Okay, you want it to open an overlay where by default it will choose centered for you, but you don't want that. You want that to happen manually because you want that to automatically fit into the same space. So just switch that from centered to manual, and this is what we have. Let me just name this up so you see what we have here. So you can see once I click that, it switches to this. You also want when you click again, you should also toggle back. So to set that quickly, this is what I'm going to do. Come back to this one. Once I click, I want it to come back to this. So on tap, I want it to close overlay. That's all. So Haven't done that, the next thing you want to do is to set up these ones. Once you hover on red, it should take you to this one. When you hover on this, it should take you to the next one. So for setting up this, you want to select while hovering. So select that, then switch to swap overlay. Okay, you want to select frame 5. It's already selected. So next one, you want it to swap to this section. So on while hovering, swap overlay, and then to frame 6. So once we launch this, you would see that what we set up has started working just the way we want it. So if I click on this, it should toggle down. Click on this, it should toggle back up. When I hover, it hovers as well. That's just that. So you can play around the design, make your design look as lovely as you want it, and then just repeat the same structure. Why did we create different states? Because we want to have just one component and be able to just change the state directly. What would have done if we using the older version of Figma is to create different components one after the other that depicts all these states. Okay, and then go ahead to start linking the components to obey the same flow. But with the update in Figma, which we are still expecting to have a better update to allow the direct change in the variants, like having your prototype to link to variants directly, that will make it even more easier. So that's just it. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop your comment below and also drop a message if you have any questions. See you in the next class.